Right, we'll just go down for a stroll round, show you what some of the vans we've got in. Got some nice camper vans in. Have a quick look round. It's a nice, really nice horse trailer. Lovely van. And the 14 plate. Really nice. And you'll love the colour of this Volkswagen. That's like the old-fashioned colours, was it? Like the T2s? The bay windows? They used to do in that colour, didn't they? Plenty of Volkswagens. Look at a lovely little bongo here. Nice little bongo. Another horse trail, the Tribute. Another really nice Volkswagen. And behind the van. And lastly, a nice long wheelbase Volkswagen. So as you can see, the front pitch is looking quite nice. We'll go and find Jason now, see what he's up to. Probably sat down somewhere with a cup of tea, but sometimes he pretends to work. Just caught Jason just coming out of the shed then. I bet he's been sipping tea. Caught you then, I bet you've been in there drinking tea, haven't you?
Hey?
I bet you were in there drinking tea and you heard me coming, didn't you? I just had a walk around the pitch. I said, I'll go and find Jason now, I bet he's drinking tea.
So you've had a stroll about, haven't you? We're under pressure here, Kev.
I know. Why are, mate? Sometimes.
Everybody's going down like flies. We're losing staff. Aren't we?
Yep.
So we've got 3 vans to check off.
Yeah.
We've lost Finn.
Yep.
We've lost John.
Yep.
We never had you. Did we? So yeah, we've got 3 vans to check off.
You go doing a nosedive over barriers, so
That's true, yeah.
anything to get a day off.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever.
Right, so what are you doing, Jess?
Checking off this camper van. It's an auto sleeper Kingdom. So checking that off, and then we're going to have to check a Swift off that John was about to start, so we're going to go on to that. We just finished off the 135 that's been picked up Friday. That's all checked off, but we'll just do a pre-check on that. Something I want to talk about.
I'm not a psychologist. They have specialists for that.
Campervans. That's what I want to talk about, is campervans. Now, what I mean by campervans is what we call self-builds, don't we?
Yeah, yeah.
And what we class as self-build is somebody's built it themselves.
They bought themselves a van and decided to make it into a camper.
Yeah. People who've started to build them and sell them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Small companies who are building campervans.
Yeah.
Self-builds. Now, I think since the beginning of time, people have been getting a van, putting a mattress in,
Yeah.
and just going away with no problems. No problems about it.
Sometimes whack a few windows in it.
Yeah, yeah. Put a few windows in it and everything else. But what I'm finding since COVID is it's always been under the radar, hasn't it? Self-builds.
Yeah,
Right. We've never really had many in, or we've looked when we've had them in to make sure it works up to the specs and everything else. But what's happening now is, how can I explain? Since COVID happened, people wanted to buy motorhomes, and obviously motorhomes have gone up in price. So what's happened is there's been a lot of self-built campervans.
A lot of people had time on their hands during lockdown.
Yeah.
In fact, only last week when I was away,
Yeah.
I met up with a chap on the next pitch to me that had done exactly the same.
Let me just carry on checking off, Kev, while you were talking.
He converted a van during lockdown.
Yeah.
He's done a nice job of it, actually. Nice Mercedes.
There's some lovely vans out there.
Yeah.
There's some really nice vans out there. There's some good van builders. If any van builders out there want to reach out to us, because I'd like to feature some van builders that do it. But what's happened now is these, we're going to call them self-builds.
Yeah.
Right. What's happened now is they're starting to come from under the radar, coming onto our radar. And what I'm saying there is people have gone out and brought a camper van that's been self-built and everything else. They've enjoyed the camping over the last 12 months, but obviously they want to get into a motorhome. So what's happening now is we're getting a lot of people who are coming up here to look at motorhomes and want to buy a motorhome or even a campervan like this, and they've got their self-builds.
Yeah.
Basically. And why aren't we buying them, Kev?
Because they don't fit regulations. There's problems with gas, problems with the electric.
70 to 80% of the vans that we see aren't safe.
No.
Because what we're finding is somebody who's good at woodworking, will build it, but don't know anything about the gas. Have you just been around the pitch?
Yeah.
Right, how many self-builds have we got?
None.
And the reason we've got them is because we had two people come last week, two lots of couples who come last week, wanted to buy a motorhome or looking again in one of the motorhomes, wanted to part exchange. When we got in the vans, it's like, no, ain't happening, basically. Now, at the end of the day, Kev, we just see that happening.
Yeah.
Right, we see lovely, beautiful, beautiful self-builds, but it's what's underneath that counts. And as a couple or a single person or whatever who's looking at buying a camper van, they don't know what to look for.
Yeah. You can see that cooker, you can't see the pipework or anything behind it.
Yeah.
You've not looked in the gas locker to see if that complies with regulations.
Exactly. And as well, a lot of these builders, and like I say, and we're not knocking anybody, because there's some good builders out there, but the problem we find in 70 or 80% of the vans that people are bringing on this pitch that have been self-built by people, or small companies or whoever, aren't up to scratch. And we can't buy these vans. And then when you're telling people they've spent a lot of money on these vans.
We found the ones, especially like on the like your VW type conversions, where you've got the little hob, the little sink. Well, we've had them piped up.
We'll talk about that in a bit, Kev. We'll talk about. So what we want to do today, and like I say, we're not knocking any builders out there or whatever. There's some, like I say, reach out to us and we'd like to feature you. Not a problem at all. But it's starting to surface more and more this year, people bringing vans in to Partex and they're just not up to scratch. So what we want to do is we want to show you, if you're going out to look for a self-build, or if you're going out, basically somebody's going to build the van for you or whatever, some little things to look out for and to ask them. So, and like I say, number one at the end of the day is make sure they've done the electric test, make sure they've done the gas, got the gas certificate. And I've done it, it's a 5-day course, and then you have to go every 5 years for another 3-day course. We don't fit gas things, do we?
No.
We just check that everything's safe. But by going on that course, it's really interesting because we know what to look for.
Yeah, we can replace gas things if you
we can fit them if we want to.
Yeah.
Because it's just a simple thing like having something like this. We've got to have adequate ventilation.
Yeah.
So what we'll do now is we'll show people, probably a little bit of education as well, what to look for. So I think, what would you say the number one gripe for us when we see a camper van build?
Inadequate ventilation.
Gas
pipe work. It's mainly gas pipe work.
Gas pipe
We've had cookers pipes all the way back to the gas bottle.
So let's just show people. Let's go find a van and explain to people how the gas bottle should be.
Yeah.
Yep. Right then, Auto Trail, V-Line. Auto Trail, big manufacturer, they have rules and regulations they have to adhere to. So, gas bottle. As you can see, it's in a metal casing. Yes, Kev?
Yep, with a label on.
With a label on, LPG, which has to be. And then, basically, it's sealed. Yep. And then we have the gas bottle there, with the hose, going to the regulator, and then it's piped up to the appliances.
Yeah.
Why do we do that, Kev?
Because it should be a metal pipe work all the way to the appliances, i.e. copper. It shouldn't be pipe directly from the cylinders in a rubber hose all the way to the appliance.
And that's what we see a lot of, don't we?
We do, especially in like the ones where you got a little hob, like a VW type conversion, where they buy the hob and sink combined, and they'll run a rubber hose all the way to that, which is a big no-no.
Why is that, Kev?
Well, for a start, hoses need to be changed. They have an expiry date on them, and obviously it's a fire risk.
Yeah. So the only rubber hose we should have is going from the LPG bottle to a regulator,
which is known as a pigtail. On some of the earlier vans, you'll probably have a regulator fitted on the cylinder here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you'll have a short piece of hose going onto a metal pipe.
And why do we have a regulator?
We have a regulator to drop the pressure down to 37 millibar.
Because it comes out a lot quicker than 37.
It's a lot higher. The pressure's a lot higher in the cylinder, yeah.
Okay.
We also have...
And then what we also have there is, if we're testing for gas, I don't know if you can see there, we'll obviously if it's on the other one, testing for when we do a gas test.
We'll put our gauge on to test it. The other thing we need is ventilation as well.
Right.
Which is known as a drop vent.
So let's go and have a look at another camper van, a Volkswagen, and let's see if they've done it correct.
Yeah.
Because this, stop off me, because this, the camper van that we're going to have a look in, hasn't been done by a big manufacturer, it's been done by a small firm, hasn't it? So let's see if they've done it right. Which one?
We've got this transporter here.
This one?
Yeah. It's at the back, Jason.
Well, that's a good start if it's at the back.
Well,
let's just explain that, Kev.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the type of hob we were talking about.
Yeah, you've got your hob here, haven't you?
Yeah, most of you.
Let's have a look. You've got a hob here.
Yeah.
Let's put some lights on. Can we get some lights on? Yeah. And then what happens is we have a gas bottle underneath here, don't we?
Yeah.
With a rubber hose going up to it.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Now, we can't put a gas bottle in there. Why is that, Kev?
Because there's no drop vent. And it's not metal clad.
Yeah, and it's also not lipped, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you get a gas leak, let's explain it. Let's have a look. See if it's been done.
The reason we explain it is because LPG is heavier than air.
So let's have a look. Right, there we go. We've got a sticker.
Yeah.
Saying LPG. We have a lip, and it's in a metal casing.
Yep. And what else is there?
And then we also get the drop vent there as well. So if we get a leak, the LPG will drop down and go down into the drop vent. But also if there's a build up, it's building up in here because we've got the lip, haven't we?
Yeah, it can't spill over. Yeah.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, when you're looking for your camper van, make sure the gas bottle is in a metal casing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also rubber hose, which runs to...
Which should be in date. They do have a date on them.
Yeah, they all have dates on. Should be really changed every 5 years.
Yeah.
And then make sure it's running up to a regulator, not a rubber hose from the gas bottle running straight up to the appliances.
Yeah.
Happy with that one?
Yeah.
Right, let me carry on checking vans up.
Okay. You've moved, Jason. Why are you in this van now?
Because this is a van we need to check off, Kevin. Now we've lost John. So, nice, again, we don't want to get too in depth, do we?
No.
Nice, simple explanation on your LPG. Next one, batteries, leisure batteries.
Yeah.
So, I'm best showing you the other one, aren't I? The auto sleeper. Yeah. So, leisure batteries, that's everything that powers the habitation side of the van. Now, leisure batteries should be either in a box. Let's just show you. Good example this one is. Oh, the heating's working, Kev.
Yeah.
Heating is working. So, as you can see down there, do we get a light?
We'll get the light.
So as you can see, with this one, leisure battery in a battery box.
With a vent as well. Notice the vent there.
Here.
Because batteries do give off flammable fumes.
Yep. And then that's nicely put in there. Yep. But if it's not, it needs to be secure. So it doesn't it doesn't slide along.
The other thing as well, if you note where the fuse is external from the box. The fuse isn't enclosed in the box.
Why is that, Kev?
Because of the gases given off by the battery.
Right.
The battery can give off gases which can cause a fire.
Yeah.
And a bit of a bang sometimes as well.
Yeah,
we've had batteries that have been overcharged, and well, I think we've got one round the back actually. It looks like a balloon.
yeah. Shall we show it?
Yeah.
Let's show a battery that's been overcharged. There we go.
There we go.
There's a battery.
That's a UASA battery. Is it UASA? Turn around the other way.
It says as well, it's a good battery, that is.
The UASA. Now you look at the shape of that UASA.
Look at that. So another rule of thumb then, Kev, is we don't be charging the batteries all the time, do we?
That was on the verge of going bang, that.
Yeah. Now, if that's enclosed in a box,
yeah,
we're safe, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well,
that'd go bang, you'd have acid everywhere.
Now, the easiest way to know if this is starting to happen is it'll get a smell of like burnt pork or something, won't it?
Or rotten eggs. Yeah.
Yeah. When you get into the van, it will be noticeable.
Yeah.
And like I say, not many times, we've only ever happened 3 or 4 times on us, is when I've walked past the van, you can smell it.
And the important thing is then, don't panic. Immediately try and disconnect the battery because you could create a spark.
No.
Ventilate the van
Take the hook
first.
up out.
Take the hook up out, ventilate the van, well ventilated, and disconnect the negative first. And then you don't want to create a spark because it's got flammable gases within the van.
So, there's your battery. One on here, Kev. I do know because we put one on. Actually, that laser battery was off here.
Ah, right.
Was off here.
Yeah.
So.
And what year is this van, Jess? It's not an old van, is it?
No. 2020.
2020 van. And that was the battery off it.
Yeah.
Now, was that a faulty battery? Because we've checked the charger and it's not overcharging, is it?
No. Check that. So if you just have a look at this is not in a case, but it's secure.
Yeah.
It's not sliding around, so just have a look in there.
There's the leisure battery, which is under the seat. To change those is quite a bit of a job, and then we have to remove the seat.
Yeah. But did you show them how it's secured down? Just have a show it down.
You can see there's 2 straps on it. So it is strapped down, and you'll notice the fuse is away from it, but it's not in an enclosed box. Right,
so here we go, Kev.
What have you found now?
Come in, have a look. There's your battery underneath the van.
Yeah.
Underneath the van. Underneath the back seat. Look at that. Not strapped in or nothing.
Yep.
Just left.
Yeah.
To move about. So we've actually gone, I think, to Volkswagen actually and ordered a proper housing for it, basically.
Yeah. So
that's a no-no. Why is that, Kev?
In the event of an accident, also it's backwards and forwards, rubbing on metal to create a leak on the battery, and you'd have acid leaking all over out your battery.
Yeah. So there you go. As far as battery goes, nice and simple. Make sure it's secure down or in a housing, basically. I just thought, like you say, you know, a lot of the van builds, they're all use diesel liters, don't they?
Yeah.
Is that because whoever's building them hasn't got the gas certificate?
Yeah.
So they can't put a proper gas system in?
Because they don't have a hot water system in, because there's no washrooms or anything, is there? So most of them are just like a camper van, like VW type. So yeah, they buy a cheap. Well, some of them are. Some of
the diesel liters are quite good though.
Oh, some good ones.
Yeah, and in fairness, they're all
even
good.
The Chinese ones, which people say cheap Chinese, but.
Well, yeah, they've just basically copied the good ones, haven't they?
Because they have to copy anything, don't they?
So it does make you wonder why a lot of the camper vans have got diesel liters in. It's because the people actually fitting them haven't got the gas certificate.
But they fit the gas hob. You know.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's probably why you just get the compressor fridges in. But the compressor fridges are good.
Oh, excellent.
They're brilliant, the compressor fridges are.
Yeah.
What was next? Beds.
Beds. Especially rock and roll beds.
Rock and roll beds. Yeah. So, rock and roll beds, they need to be crash tested, and you normally get a certificate.
You nice and wet, Jace?
Shut up.
Hey, look at the weather.
This one.
Yeah.
Right. Put some lights on.
I'll shut the door, eh, because it's getting wet.
Campervans. So, basically, rock and roll beds, if they've got seat belts, they should be crash tested, shouldn't they?
Yeah.
And we've got one here by All Seasons. We've got the certificate to basically say it's a crash tested one. There we go, certificate.
Yep.
Now, the thing is, if it's not a crash tested van, you shouldn't be having people in the back, should you, Kev?
Yeah.
So don't forget, you can still have a rock and roll bed in here.
Oh yeah.
No problems at all. You could use it and everything.
You can't carry passengers.
But you can't carry passengers.
Especially children.
Especially children. So just a nice little thing to look for on your camper van. So let's go back. Let's get this locked up, and we'll have a recap of what we've gone over, and hope it's some help for you.
I notice you're back in the dry again.
So that water's hot, Kev.
Ah, yeah, that water's hot.
Right, so let's turn that off.
You think I'm a thermometer, don't you?
So we're happy with that. Oh, I've got that one. Let me just check that. That's all switched off. Yeah. Hot water. We've done the hot water on it.
Yep.
Yep.
Tested it with my thermometer, with my digit.
So there you go. Look, we don't want to go into too much, but like I say, we are starting to find now emerging a lot more self-built campers, aren't we, coming to us. Like I say, 70–80% aren't right.
The other thing as well is the DVLA are registered as vans with windows.
Yes, that's another thing.
You've got to be aware, if it's registered as a van with windows, you've got different speed limits. Yeah.
So there you go. Like I say, if there's any van builders out there who want to show the wares of what they do, get in touch with us. By all means, we'd like to showcase them all. But like I say, it's just a bit concerning now we're getting these vans coming on the market. So just a quick basic insight, wasn't it? So it was your gas bottle, make sure it's housed and it's not a hose going up to the appliance. Battery, make sure your battery's in a, I forgot the word now.
The crack compartment and secured, yeah.
Correct. And also check your bed that it's a crash tested one if you're going to be using people. If there's seat belts on it, make sure it's a crash tested one.
Yeah. One thing we didn't mention is with your electrics, if you've got 240 volt on the van, there should be an RCD circuit breaker.
That's a point. So we'll just quickly show a circuit breaker. And there we go. There's your circuit breaker. Obviously there are 12 volts. But we can go on forever. Just to help people, just give people an idea if they're looking at buying a self-build van, what to look out for. Hope it's been helped. Subscribe to us, like us, and do all of the things.
Have I got to go out and get wet now?
Yeah.